Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system. All right, here we go.
From real estate to real life and everything in between, the Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. Oh, man, I am super excited about this episode because it is something that I've never, ever really heard about until now. Somebody had gotten in touch with me and said, there's this guy doing this thing called co-living. And I know you're probably sitting there going, what the hell is co-living? That's exactly what I thought when they got in touch with me. And co-living is something that's a little different. And Grant Shipman, the guy that we're going to have on here in just a second, is the guru at this. He has a company called Living Smith, and he's all over the place teaching how to do this as an investment. So we're going to dive right into this right now. Grant, are you there?
Yeah, this is great.
Awesome. And you're straight from Colorado.
We got a beautiful snow yesterday. It's just like all the pretty without the cold. It's
oh, nice. That's cool. That's cool. So have you gotten a lot of snow so far?
No. It's and that's also why we maintain a second home down in Texas, because when it gets too snowy, we leave.
Oh, that's great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, and I'll tell you, are you a skier?
I try to be. My wife's awesome at it, so I'm a faller.
You're a faller? Yeah. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You just don't want to fall. You don't want to hit trees. They tend to win. That's the only thing about skiing. Yeah.
Right.
Trees are bad. Trees are bad.
That's why I maintain an exciting, slow rate. And do you ski then?
I used to ski. I picked it up a couple of years ago with my kids, and it's amazing when you get older, you forget that you don't have the functionality that you had.
All right.
Yeah, it's the next day I felt like a truck hit me. I mean, it was unbelievable. Yeah. So it's a great sport though. Great winter sport. My
wife, I do like the real estate, the systems, the co-living, all of that stuff. And my natural language is not fun, but my wife's natural language is fun. So she does like the backcountry snowboarding and skydiving. Wow. So I have a whole bunch of fun in my life because I rightly married her.
That's great, man. I'll tell you. The skydiving, you don't run out. There's no way I'm jumping out of a plane that's not going down. You know what I mean? So if the plane's going down, I'll jump out. Otherwise, I'm not jumping out. And obviously, you jump out with a parachute, of course, which nobody travels like that. But yeah, let's get into this co-living thing. Yeah. I mean, your podcast agent got in touch with me, and I'm pretty picky now these days, just because we get a lot of requests to be on the show. And when I saw this co-living thing, it caught my eye. You know, and I'm going to tell you what Wikipedia has as a definition, and you can tell me, you know, because they're not the most accurate. It says co-living is a residential community living model that accommodates 3 or more biologically unrelated people living in the same dwelling unit. Does that sound accurate?
I mean, that sounded pretty darn good. Right?
Yeah, for Wikipedia, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, we are doing. I recommend 7 to 11 people. But as far as what I do, that's the households just run better. It's a better renter experience, easier to manage. But yeah, like three unrelated people. It's kind of like a little non-traditional household. Good job, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Right. Like so okay, let's take that definition, and then now I have all kinds of questions. Okay. Yeah. So the big questions. So we're talking. You buy a property. You buy it. You say, okay, I'm going to rent this out to not just one person, but I'm going to rent it out to 5, 7, you said 11, whatever it is. Now, obviously, it's got to be a big property. And the people that you're renting it to are not related, pretty much. And do they share the same fridge, the same washer and dryer? So the whole house is shared.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, really, you nailed it. This is a normal house in a normal neighborhood. And this is what's happened in the last so many years is people would rather live with others. They would prefer to live with others rather than alone. And it's no longer, driven by price, right? There's always been rooming houses, boarding houses, but it's because of that, right? If there's lots of people because of work, because of whatever, they don't have family around to live with. They don't want to sign a lease with other people, but they would love to live with others. So, so they get a beautiful house for the price of a room, and an investor, right, gets we're getting like 2 to 3 times as much. So we're selling pizza by the slice, so we're making a lot more money. So renters, investors.
I like that analogy. It's a great analogy. That's good. The pizza by the slice. So basically what you're doing is you're renting, the person is the owner is renting the bedrooms within the home. For obviously, if you add them all up, you're getting more money than you would if you rented the whole house, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like my first house, it would have gone for $2,400 for rent. It was a normal house on a corner street, so there's plenty of parking, and but with 7 bedrooms at $700. Now it's more. Rent was more, but that was $4,900 a month I got. Wow. Right, so. Not only does it double in income, but as far as like the cash on cash return, those kind of things. But for me, what it meant is I went from like a real estate no experience, right? I was driving a crappy Prius, delivering Domino's pizza.
Don't worry, Toyota does not sponsor the show. Don't worry about that.
Right. That's a good one. This lender I got a hold of, right? The lender just laughed at me. It was like, you'll never qualify for a loan. I was renting a room. I had no income, and I was lonely. I wanted to, get married, have the beautiful kids that I now have. But I got into real estate, and that large amount of income, that cash, not only absorbed my learning curve, right? So I didn't suffer near what others do, but 15 months later, I had a financial freedom, a $2 million net worth. I found my girl that I met my girl about 19 months after I started. We got married, and anyway, just to say, like, it's not only amazing for society, but it serves society like crazy, but like financially what it did for me and how it changed my life. Like now I have, my wife was like, I really want a house in the Rocky Mountains. So we got her one, right? I could have never done that before.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. It's awesome. And so it's obviously it's very lucrative. The thing that for me is the logistics behind it. I've been in real estate for 32 years, going on 33. And, and I've been a landlord many times. I'm a landlord now. And I'm just curious, like, how do you bring all those people together? And there's a couple things that come to mind with this. And Hugo and I were talking about this. Liability. Like, you're bringing people together that don't know each other. Do you have to worry about, like, if there's, there's men and women that are coming in together and, things happen when there's men and women in the same places together that maybe they don't know each other or whatever. So that's the thing to me. And does everybody know their space? Like, there's one family room. Who gets to sit in this chair? You know what I mean? Like, I just wonder how it works out. And do they all meet first, or do you rent it to 3 people and then rent it to the other 4? Those are the things to me. They're just very, very, a lot of logistics involved there.
Yeah. And it's the thing that basically, there's kind of 2 things, because what you brought up is so important. We have investors that get starry-eyed because of the profit, right? The revenue, right? Yeah. They get starry-eyed. They're like, woo, and they jump into it. They find a house, and they have not only such unsuccessful experience in managing, like the reasons you brought up, but additionally, it takes so much of their time. And so we have one of the big things that we do is teach on how to do co-living property management. It is just like short-term rental, Airbnb management. If you do that, like you do long-term rental, you're going to run into problems. But we do that. And I know in the Denver area, we're onboarding another, I think it's about 80 houses, just because of investors get into it. And they're like, ooh, But the management side, really what I did is I had this lucky accident. So because of an early marriage that failed, I did an unexpected thing, unexpected for me. I moved into a hippie co-op. And
can't imagine where this is going to go.
Yeah. I moved into this hippie co-op. Interesting enough, it was a house. It was started in 1976. And some of the members went on to start Whole Foods, just to say.
Oh, my gosh, you're kidding me.
These people introduced me to the intentional living community. And they've always been, part of society just at the edges, but they're people who they're sharing equity. We would have meetings and they were 3 hours long because you had to talk about, everybody had an opinion on how the bathroom should be remodeled. But what I discovered, like these hidden gems from these people who were the OGs of strangers sharing a house, not because they have to, right? Because they want to, and thriving. I just took all of the stuff they were mastering, not just for decades, right? These people have been around forever, this tradition, but they had mastered, and I just translated it into a property management scenario, a paradigm. And so just to say some unexpected things happened one is the risk profile that typical real estate professional like you brought up would rightly say, doesn't your risk profile increase? And actually, because like my houses, so I'll pick out a house, it's called Gateway. So Gateway House has 8 unrelated people living in it. Now I have 8 people. So if one becomes a bad egg, right, I've got 7 other responsible adults looking at
What do they do?
things.
Kick them off the island or what? Do you have like a little flame thing that you do for each person?
Right. We do any healthy household is going to have ways to like positive peer pressure or to protect the household and remove somebody. So the household does have that ability, and it runs itself mostly. If people want to live in a house and they want to live there a long time, they don't want it to be like a Airbnb house where somebody's cooking and cleaning for them, doing all this thing. They want a household system. We have a 40-point complete household system where they just run it themselves. And really all blood related households have a system, whether they talk about it or not, But we have a system. And what's kind of cool is the women living in the house feel so safe because usually women have to live with women because it's like 2 or 3 people, and that could be like risky with a stranger male. But when you're talking 7, 8, 9, 10 people, you have a safety in numbers, but additionally the men bring a safetiness to women. This is me passing on their words, and then of course the men really appreciate that feminine energy, and they don't leave trash around. So to say the risk exposure of mine, I mean, I have so my property managers stop by and they do a 20-minute house check each month. They replace the toilet paper, they leave some candy on the kitchen table and tell them, hey, the house is looking good. But that means I have a property inspection every month, right? So simply. Right. So my risk exposure, all of this stuff actually drops way down as long as the management is done correctly. So,
is there
you're bringing up is exactly the case. Yeah.
Is there somebody deemed in the house to be the leader or the main renter?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from the Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.
Yeah, this is a good question. So what they'll refer to this is called on-site management, right? You kind of give somebody a free room or a discounted something like this. And frankly, and one of the Living Smith teachers, her name is Jackie. When she first started investing with us, doing this kind of thing, she thought this was the way to do it. She wanted to be like a house mom. Well, she could manage one house of 8 people. She was one of the people. She could and it took her 20 hours because Because in the words of when I first moved into this hippie co-op, my sponsor's name was Bruce. He was the guy who just kind of looked out for me in the beginning. I go, Bruce, who's in charge? Who's in charge? He goes, Grant. He goes, nobody's in charge. So that means we're all 100% responsible. And so an important part of co-living houses is we say they're egalitarian houses. So they're governed by a lease and on a household covenant, or like a roommate agreement, some people call it. But everybody is equal. So if there's a problem going on, everybody's responsible for addressing that problem. And basically, not only is that good for the housemates, like usually if there's an on-site manager, you don't want to live for long in that place, right? You're like sitting in the living room and they feel like they're watching you. But when you're sitting in the living room and you feel like, well, this is not only my living room, but it is my living room. It just goes a lot better. It's we have one property manager, full-time property manager, 40 hours a week that can manage 140 leases compared to, the one gal I was mentioning who's highly skilled. She could manage seven leases for 20 hours a week, right? Wow. That's not very scalable.
No, not so good. Not so good. It's just, that's incredible. And so these houses are typically obviously very large. So it's not like you're stepping on each other. I mean, when you say you have 6 bedrooms, it's not like it's a 2,200 square foot house with 7 bedrooms. I mean, it's not like each bedroom is like a bunk. I mean, these are like half decent size homes.
Yeah, well, and I like that you're getting to numbers because it makes things a lot easier to say. So what a really good home setup, if somebody's looking to get into this, is look for a house on a corner lot, 2,500 square foot, and it's a 5.3. I'm
sorry, what was the square footage again?
2,500 square foot.
Okay, 2,500 square feet. And it's a 5.3, 5 bedroom, 3 full bath.
Yes. Okay. And one of those bathrooms is probably going to be en suite, like a master bedroom.
Yeah.
Now, what we do then is, I'll give, this is actually the first house that I got. I'll give it, and we actually, we're onboarding a house tomorrow. That's exactly the same thing. But in normal houses, they have multiple living rooms, right? Mm. Like they might be called a fireplace room, a rec room, a playroom, but there's multiple living rooms. And because normal houses, when a house is built, it's built for a family. So for instance, I have 2 kids and we got one on the way, and we want a playroom where they can trash it and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But when you have multiple adults living together, they want one nice living room with a big screen TV that they can sit in and enjoy. But if there's additional rooms like that, it's just another place that needs to be cleaned, or you can leave your socks on accident. So what we do with this 5.3 is you want to have the one nice living room. So usually you walk in, right? There's a nice kind of sitting area, all of that stuff. But then, the other 2, like the fireplace room or the playroom, you add a door into that room. So it's closed by a door, and that becomes just a really fantastic bedroom. People, I mean, it's like this one fireplace room. I mean, whenever somebody has a fireplace in the room, they feel awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then what happens is
now, does that person, real quick, I'll just throw this, does that person think that they are the leader because they have the biggest bedroom and they paid the most money? The person with the fireplace gets to run the show.
Right. Well, no. So there's the house is really like, people can keep each other in check pretty well. And that happens in any kind of a household.
Yeah, I could totally I could see myself doing this. Dude, I paid this much a month, so therefore I'm entitled to have more refrigerator space or whatever, whatever it would be,
Well, and that's where what we encourage people, we this is one of the things that's more of a preference, but all of our rooms are the same price. What we do, we say everyone's equal, all the rooms are the same price, and it keeps things simple for our system.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But additionally, somebody who, they might move into a room and when another room, say the fireplace room or say the master bedroom becomes available, then they're like, ooh, me, it kind of rewards seniority without giving authority.
Gotcha.
But yeah, to say these houses though, people move into them and these homes become like these cherished places to live. They never want to leave. Like our lifetime average renter tenancy is over 2 years.
Yeah, I saw that I saw that in your resume thing here, your sheet. 25.2 month average tenant stay. That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's lifetime. Right now, our average tenancy is, for our current renters, is much higher. I just like to share lifetime because it's a little bit more realistic when people are starting. Yeah.
Incredible. Now, question for you. Ever have any houses where people got married after they were there together?
Yes. Oh, we
see, this is juicy stuff right here, Hugo. You got to get into the juicy stuff.
That's
right. Well, and this is what's so great. And to say these households are so nice. My wife and I, we lived in them. We were undercover. Nobody knew we owned it. We just we didn't want people coming to us with problems and stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
We lived in them until we got married and pregnant, because I understand, I learned a whole lot from the intentional living community, but I don't know how to do these houses with people who have children. So that's
that would be,
So
that's a little
people
different.
Get married and then they or
right.
This one guy, he this is, you want to hear a great marriage story?
Sure. I would love to hear a good juicy story.
Please.
Okay. So this is one of my favorites. So we'll call him Mark, right?
Because his name was Mark. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Right. But Mark was he would always go and there was this brewery about 2 blocks away that the house would always, a number of guys would walk to, and they would play like different board games, trivia night, whatever. And anyway, this was a house that I was living in, and so we're out, and this guy Mark, he's like, guys, he's like, I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend, and we're like, oh, that's really, really awesome. So we congratulate him. He goes, no, guys, you don't get it. He goes, I've been dating this girl for 8 years. He goes, any girl in the past that I was gonna make this move with, I moved in with. And then we broke up because I couldn't live with anybody.
That is so funny.
That I was in relationship with. He goes, but after a year of living here and learning how to live with others, and we have this process. He said the 5-on-5 system, that's a conflict management system. Me and my wife still use it. Like, hey, let's do a 5-on-5. He goes, after that, I realized I could actually marry and move in with the woman I loved. I was just planning to just stay boyfriend and girlfriend and live separately forever. And we're like, whoa. And so we were hoping that his fiance was going to move in and they would just take the master bedroom because it was coming available. But for some reason, she didn't want to, share a house with 6 other people. So
that is funny. No, that's cool though. That's a positive story there. Absolutely. I just wondered because, I think that when you're around people, whether you were attracted to them in the beginning or not, if you're around somebody that you're attracted to, it might, end up happening while you're just living with somebody. It's kind of interesting.
Well, additionally, there's such a safety net in a household. I think if nothing else, we learned that during COVID. Like, if you live with other quality people, you probably thrive during COVID. If you live by yourself, regardless of how much financial wealth you had, you didn't have that. And so when I met my wife, her meeting the other people in my household, the other people in the co-living house, first it told her that I'm like have some kind of emotional intelligence because I'm living with these other quality people, right? But the thing that it told me was, I asked them, hey, you've met Sarah, like you blah blah blah. What do you think of her? What do you think of us together? And there's a real like safety net, a real power there.
That's cool, man. Yeah. So the next topic that I wanted to bring up before we end here, because we've been talking for a while here. This is great.
My gosh.
So the next thing I want to bring, municipalities, government, small government. I'm on the planning commission for our local township here. And obviously we deal with the Airbnb stuff. There's a lot of regulations that are starting to come out about that because the neighbors sometimes don't like it. And there's parties and things like that. What are you seeing pushback? Because, if a house is a single family house, right. Now you're bringing in 5, 6, 7 different, not families, but they're not blood related. So they're considered 6 families. What kind of pushback are you getting on that?
So actually the trend is really like the trend that's kind of outlawing Airbnb to say, and my wife's an Airbnb person. She loves hospitality.
Yeah.
Right. I just want long-term renters that make my bank account grow while I sleep. Right. She wants to make people happy and decorate the Christmas tree. Whatever. But what's happening in Airbnb is kind of the opposite of what's happening in co-living. But to say is, to bring specificity to it is there's usually there's a code in the UDC of each city, each county, whatever, that says either people related by blood or law, or no more than blank number of unrelated people. So no more than 3, no more than 4, no more than 5. The lowest I saw was 2. But there's this rule, and that's what was the biggest limiting thing to co-living. But what's happened because of the housing shortage and all of this stuff is now we're having this whole legislation trend where, like say in the state of Colorado, effective July 1st, 2024, all restrictions on co-living are banned. So it doesn't, and that's happening. I mean, wow, let's see, Washington, Oregon, Iowa, California, New York. It's happening in cities pretty much everywhere. It is at least like being discussed.
Well, and I get it. We have a problem with inventory. I'm a realtor. I mean, we've been low on homes in the country and locally here for probably the past 2-3 years. It's also the reason why prices are so crazy. But yeah, we have an issue. So there's got to be, Hugo and I were talking about this a little bit before, is that there's got to be solutions. We got to think outside the box. And I think the co-living thing is definitely something that is outside the box. I think it's something that could really, really start to grow. And I think it's great that you're the one, you actually have a business of teaching people how to do this, correct? I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Monthly we do trainings. I've got a training tonight, a 2-hour training. Sometimes we do 5-day trainings, but specifically when an investor starts in this, not only are they going to be making at least $1,000, if not $2,000 or $3,000 cash flow each month, but immediately they have just created more housing from current inventory. They've just done about the biggest thing they can for the environment, better than driving an electric car or whatever else. And it's just really rewarding, right? Yeah. We got pictures. The property management was getting sent in pictures from the Thanksgiving dinners that were being had.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, people don't have family or something. That's a good place for them to actually create family and start to have family. It reminds me of a reality show or something when you talk about these houses. The other thing I thought about is that, and we're going to have to wrap this up actually, but the other thing I was thinking of, it's like a frat house that you never got to stay at.
Yes. I mean, like without all the negative connotations, it really.
Wait, is there something negative about a frat house?
Right. But when you get to live, me and my wife now, we're the only 2 adults in our house, right? Cleaning is a real deal. But when I lived with 7 other people, the house was so clean all the time because we each clean 20 minutes a week. Yeah. And holy moly, right? Yeah. Like everything. I only mow the lawn once every 8 weeks.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Cow. Yeah, divide and conquer. You can just split up the chores. That's awesome, man. Is there anything else real quick that we can talk that you wanted to bring up that we didn't touch? Because I think we touched a lot. And maybe we can have you on again because probably a lot of the things that we could cover. So in order to get in touch with you to do the trainings and stuff, I think you had said livingsmithpro.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is there any other place that you think is the best place? You were saying also Facebook, and that's also Living Smith Pro, right? On Facebook?
Yeah, Living Smith Pro. Yeah. Also, though, for anybody listening right now, we made a specific thing off our website. So livingsmithpro.com/Brad Weisman Show. If you go here, there's some special goodies.
Awesome.
There. As far as how to get started, because it's I think the easiest, safest, fastest, whatever way to financial freedom, people to get started, people who have current portfolios that, they're having problems knowing how to increase their profits because they're not buying as much, do those houses convert to co-living, but anything there, because it's 5 years from now, this will be like the old thing. But right now, people are like, what is that?
Yeah, I love it. You're pioneering it, man. You're pioneering it. This is great stuff. I appreciate it so much. We're going to say goodbye. We'll have you back, I guess, someday too, just to go over some more things. But I love what you're doing. I love the ideas, and it's a way to solve the inventory issue. All right, man.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. This is so awesome.
No problem. No problem. All right, there you have it. Graham Shipman, founder of Livingsmith. It's livingsmithpro.com. You can go there. He's got some goodie stuff if you do the backsplash of the Brad Weisman Show. But yeah, what an amazing thing. We have a problem with inventory in this country, and this is a way to solve it. So check out our show every Thursday, 7 p.m. All right, that's about it. Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting.